Okay, we have all been there. A Dungeons and Dragons campaign that sort of goes way of the rails. This is such a story. This is the story of how a bard's minigolf scheme nearly toppled a kingdom. Chapter 1, 4. The sun hung lazily in the sky as the small town of Pebblebrook buzzed with its usual market day chaos. Amid the bustling crowd, 3 adventurers stood around an old, tattered portable hole, like it was a newly discovered artifact of immense power, which, for them, it might as well have been. "Think about it!" exclaimed Lila the bard, a gnome with hair as wild as her imagination. She gestured dramatically at the 6-foot-diameter hole laid out on the ground. "Portable mini-golf. We take it on the road, charge admission, and bam! Riches beyond our wildest dreams." Goruk the barbarian, a hulking half-orc, scratched his head. He was the group's muscle and occasional voice of reason, though reasoning wasn't his strong suit. "I don't get it. Why would people pay to hit balls into a hole?" "It's not just about the hole, Goruk," Lila said with an exasperated sigh. "It's the experience, the thrill of competition, the joy of victory, the shame of missing an easy putt and blaming the wind. Trust me, it's genius." Tiberius the wizard, a half-elf with a perpetually furrowed brow, rolled his eyes as he adjusted his spectacles. "This is the most ridiculous idea you've ever had. And that includes the time you tried to sell enchanted scarves that were just regular scarves, dipped in glowing fungus." "Hey, those sold 3 units. Lila shot back, folding her arms. "And this is different. We have a portable hole. That's magic. You're the wizard, Tiberius. Make it sound impressive." Tiberius sighed. "Fine. If we're doing this, we'll need to consider logistics. Golf requires more than just a hole. We'll need obstacles, clubs, and oh yes, balls. Magical ones, I assume?" "Obviously." Lila grinned. "I'm thinking illusion spells for obstacles. Make the course feel alive. Goruk can carve wooden clubs, and we'll use, I don't know, enchanted pebbles for balls." "I do like carving," Goruk mused. "But if someone cheats, I'm smashing their club." "That's the spirit," Lila cheered. Their first attempt to set up the course was on the outskirts of Pebblebrook, where a disused field provided the perfect venue. "Obstacle number 1, Lila announced, pointing to a hastily conjured illusion of a fearsome dragon. "Players must put their ball past this." Tiberius inspected the illusion and frowned. "It's impressive, but I think it's a bit much. It's roaring." "Exactly," Lila beamed. "Adds tension." The first golfer was a curious dwarf farmer who had wandered by, intrigued by the makeshift course. Lila handed him a rough wooden club and a polished stone. "Welcome to Pebblebrook Mini-Golf," she said, adopting a grand announcer's voice. "For the low, low price of 2 silver, you can experience thrills, chills, and dragon kills. Now put away." The dwarf squinted at the roaring illusion, then at the ball. "This looks dangerous," he muttered, but Lila's enthusiasm was contagious. He took a swing. The pebble sailed through the air directly into the illusion's mouth. Lila clapped enthusiastically. "Hole in one?" "Well, sort of." The dragon ate it. "Close enough." Goruk leaned over. "Isn't the dragon supposed to be an obstacle?" "Details," Lila said, waving him off. Word of the magical golf game spread faster than Lila anticipated, and soon a crowd of villagers gathered to try their hand. Tiberius was forced to hastily add new obstacles, a floating bridge, a spinning illusion of an owlbear, and a miniature windmill powered by Goruk's breath as he huffed impatiently. "Stop blowing so hard," Lila scolded. "It's supposed to be challenging, not impossible." "I don't know my own strength," Goruk grumbled. By the end of the day, the trio had amassed a small pile of coins, along with a list of complaints from frustrated players. "My ball disappeared into the hole and never came out." "The dragon bit me!" "Is that supposed to happen?" "Why is the windmill breathing fire?" Tiberius pinched the bridge of his nose. "I told you this was a bad idea." "Nonsense," Lila said, holding up the coin pouch with a gleam in her eye. "This is only the beginning. Wait until we take this on the road." As the sun set, the trio packed up the portable hole, their heads buzzing with plans for expansion. But in the distance, a shadowy figure watched their operation with a scowl. A merchant from Pebblebrook's wealthiest guild muttered darkly to himself, "They're stealing my customers." We'll see about that. Unbeknownst to the adventurers, their whimsical business venture was about to land them in a heap of trouble. But for now, Lila twirled her lute and grinned. 4, she called, already dreaming of their next course. Business boomed. Lila's portable mini-golf course became the talk of every town they visited. The trio's unique blend of magical illusions, quirky obstacles, and Goruk's accidentally terrifying windmill drew crowds from all over. Even adventurers on their way to actual life-threatening quests stopped for a round of mini-golf. But with success came complications. Chapter 2. The Chase for Profits Backfires. It all started with Tiberius, who had grown tired of replacing lost pebbles after every session. "This is getting ridiculous," the wizard grumbled, waving his hand as yet another enchanted pebble vanished into the portable hole. "We've lost dozens of them already." "The hole eats them." "I think it's mysterious," Lila said, flipping a gold coin. "Keeps the customers coming back." "Where did the ball go?" "It's marketing." "It's inefficiency," Tiberius snapped. "I have a solution." He rummaged through his spellbook, muttering arcane incantations under his breath, and conjured a batch of glowing, magical golf balls, tiny orbs, infused with just enough energy to return to the player. Starting point if they missed the hole. "Reusable," Tiberius explained smugly, holding up one of the glowing spheres. "And perfectly calibrated for every obstacle." "Perfect," Lila exclaimed. "Now we can charge extra for deluxe enchanted rounds." The first enchanted golf ball was a hit literally. A farmer swung too hard, launching the glowing orb into the air. The ball, enchanted to never truly disappear, ricocheted off a tree, zapped through a dimensional rift, and vanished into thin air. "What just happened?" Goruk asked, watching the ball blink out of existence. Tiberius frowned. Technically it's not gone. It's just relocated." "Relocated where?" Lila pressed. Tiberius flipped through his spellbook nervously. "The astral plane, probably. But don't worry, it's self-correcting. It'll come back. Eventually," he added under his breath. Their growing fame soon caught the attention of Lord Harkengaros III, a local noble with more gold than common sense. He arrived at their course in full finery, surrounded by a retinue of equally pompous attendants. "I've heard tales of this so-called mini-golf phenomenon," Harken declared, stroking his ridiculous mustache, "and I simply must experience it for myself." "Welcome, my lord," Lila said with her most dazzling smile. "For a mere 10 gold coins, you'll enjoy the premium experience. Enchanted balls, advanced obstacles, and a chance to win our exclusive golden trophy." Harken raised an eyebrow. "A golden trophy, you say? Very well. Prepare the course." Harken's game started well enough. He breezed past the roaring dragon obstacle and expertly navigated Goruk's fire-breathing windmill. But then he reached Tiberius's newest invention, the spinning portal challenge, a swirling vortex of illusion magic that required precise timing. "This is child's play," Harken scoffed, taking his swing. The enchanted golf ball launched into the air, spun gracefully into the portal, and disappeared. "Did I win?" Harken asked, puffing out his chest. Tiberius's face turned pale. No, my lord. The ball seems to have relocated." "Relocated?" Harken bellowed. "That was my finest shot." "Where did it go?" Lila stepped in quickly. Now, my lord, this is part of the fun." The ball has simply embraced the spirit of adventure. "Isn't that exciting?" "Exciting?" Harken thundered. "I demand my ball back immediately, or you'll regret it." As if on cue, a shimmering rift appeared in the air above the course. The enchanted ball, now glowing brighter than ever, shot back through the portal at breakneck speed. Unfortunately, it wasn't alone. The rift expanded exponentially, and from it emerged an astral dreadnought, its enormous, one-eyed visage glaring down at the startled crowd. What is that?" Goruk yelled, drawing his axe. Tiberius flipped frantically through his spellbook. "That's, bad." The dreadnought roared, clearly unhappy about being disturbed, and swiped at the nearest obstacle, smashing the windmill into splinters. Harken's retinue scattered in all directions, screaming. "My windmill!" Goruk cried. "My customers!" Lila wailed. Thinking quickly, Lila grabbed the portable hole and held it out like a net. Tiberius, can we trap it? Tiberius adjusted his glasses, panic in his eyes. In theory, impossible. In practice, probably catastrophic. Good enough for me, Lila shouted. Tiberius face-palmed. As the dreadnought lunged, Tiberius cast a quick illusion of a second enchanted ball inside the hole. The dreadnought, predictably fixated on the glowing sphere, dove straight in. With a flourish, Lila folded up the hole, sealing the beast inside. For a moment there was silence. Then, Harkin spoke, his face purple with rage. You buffoons! Do you have any idea what you've done? Saved the day? Lila offered. You've brought an astral monster to my lands! Harkin snapped. You'll pay for this, mark my words! The trio packed up their course in record time and fled Pebblebrook, leaving behind a trail of ruined obstacles, angry villagers, and one very irate noble. Well, that could have gone better, Tiberius muttered as they trudged down the road. Lila, ever the optimist, grinned. Are you kidding? We trapped an astral dreadnought in a golf hole. That's legendary. Not as legendary as Harkin's temper, Gorok said, glancing nervously over his shoulder. As they disappeared into the horizon, Lila hummed a jaunty tune. Trouble might follow them wherever they went. But she was already dreaming up new obstacles. Next course, she declared, we're adding lava pits. Chapter 3, Par for the course. The party's reputation had spread far and wide. Not as heroes, but as chaotic nuisances with a questionable grasp of magical responsibility. As they set up their mini-golf course in yet another unsuspecting village, their past finally caught up with them. On one side of the course stood Lord Harkin Garros III, his mustache quivering with barely contained rage. Flanking him were a group of heavily armed guards, all glaring at the trio. You incompetent charlatans! Harkin bellowed. You destroyed my lands, unleashed a monster, and left me to deal with the aftermath. I demand compensation. Immediately. On the opposite side stood Darna Goldweave, head of the Pebblebrook Merchants Guild, along with a cadre of her own enforcers. She was a sharp-eyed dwarf, whose reputation for ruthlessness was second only to her love of gold. You three have cost the guild a fortune, Darna said coldly, slamming her fist on the table they used as a makeshift counter. Counterfeit enchanted golf balls? Unlicensed business operations? And what's this I hear about you stealing our customers? To be fair, Lila interjected with a disarming grin, the customers came to us willingly. But sure, let's call it stealing. Neither party seemed amused. Enough, Lord Harkin shouted. I will not waste my time with these fools. Guards, seize them! Wait, Lila cried, raising her hands. Before you resort to violence, which, let's be honest, is a little cliché, what if we settle this the mini-golf way? Darna raised an eyebrow. Mini-golf? Of course, Lila said, adopting her most theatrical tone. A duel, Lord Harkin Darna Goldweave. Two titans of industry and nobility, facing off in the greatest game ever devised, mini-golf. Winner takes all. The losers walk away empty-handed. Tiberius and Gorok exchanged nervous glances, but neither said a word. Harkin stroked his mustache thoughtfully. A contest of skill. Intriguing. Darna smirked. Fine. It's not like these fools can pay me anyway. I'll wipe the course with him. Lila clapped her hands. Fantastic. Let's set the stakes high. If Harkin wins, the Merchants Guild withdraws its claims. If Darna wins, Lord Harkin forgives us for the whole astral dreadnought thing. And if by some miracle neither of you wins, we'll settle this peacefully. Peacefully was obviously a lie, but Lila sold it with a dazzling smile. As the noble and the guild leader prepared for their duel, Lila gathered Gorok and Tiberius behind the course. Are we seriously letting them play this out? Tiberius hissed. Of course not, Lila whispered. While they're busy arguing over whose swing is better, we're going to let the dreadnought take care of both of them. You still have that thing in the hole? Gorok asked, his brow furrowing. Obviously, Lila said. We'll open it just long enough to scare them off. The dreadnought roars, they run, and we get out of here scot-free. I feel like this has a high chance of going horribly wrong, Tiberius muttered. Have a little faith, Lila said with a wink. The game began with both Harkin and Darna, taking swings that could only be described as painfully mediocre. Harkin missed the first obstacle entirely, his ball bouncing off a wooden windmill and smacking into one of his guards. Pathetic, Darna sneered as she took her turn. Her ball rolled smoothly through the obstacle, but stopped frustratingly short of the hole. The crowd that had gathered alternated between cheers and laughter. Clearly enjoying the spectacle, Lila played the part of announcer, hyping every swing with dramatic flair. And Lord Harkin's next shot is, oh, just awful. Truly dreadful. Meanwhile, Darna's precision is as sharp as her negotiation tactics. The insults fueled their competitive fire, both determined to win at any cost. As the duel reached its climax, Lila gave the signal. Gorak positioned the portable hole near the final obstacle, a shimmering portal illusion designed by Tiberius, and prepared to unfurl it. "Okay, just a quick roar to scare them," Lila whispered. Gorak opened the hole and the astral dreadnought emerged with a deafening bellow. Unfortunately, things escalated faster than planned. The giant dreadnought, clearly furious at being imprisoned in a tiny hole for so long, didn't stop at roaring. It swiped at the golf course, smashing it to pieces, then turned its gaze toward the crowd. Panic erupted as villagers and spectators scattered in every direction. Maybe we should have rehearsed this part," Lila said, her grin faltering. "You think?" Tiberius yelled, frantically flipping through his spellbook for something, anything, to contain the situation. Harkin and Darna, rather than uniting against the common threat, immediately began blaming each other. "This is your fault," Harkin shouted, pointing at the dwarf. "Mine? You're the one who demanded this ridiculous duel," Darna shot back. Neither noticed as the dreadnought swiped at their entourages, sending guards and merchants alike running for their lives. Realizing they had no control over the situation, Lila grabbed the portable hole and began folding it up again. "Time to go!" she shouted. "But the dreadnought?" Gorak started. "Leave it," Lila said. "It's someone else's problem now." The trio bolted, dodging through the panicked crowd as the dreadnought wreaked havoc on the course. Behind them, Harkin and Darna's shouting devolved into a full-blown brawl, each accusing the other of sabotage. By the time the party reached the outskirts of town, they were breathless but unscathed. As they trudged down the road, Lila tried to lighten the mood. "Okay, so maybe that didn't go exactly as planned." "Didn't go exactly as planned?" Tiberius snapped. "We unleashed an astral horror on a crowded village. Again!" Gorak sighed. "I missed the windmill. Look, the important thing is we're alive," Lila said, clapping them both on the back. "And we learned a valuable lesson." Tiberius glared at her. "Oh! And what lesson is that?" Lila grinned. "Never trust a dreadnought to follow the script." With that, the trio disappeared into the horizon, already plotting their next venture.